So Nigeria
Amaka,
is in Western Africa.
Yeah, have you heard that a lot of there almost seems like a mass movement. I know a lot of us Africans are moving from Africa, from Nigeria, for instance, to overseas. But there is also a mass movement of African Americans to Africa. I heard that.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Also, just as the turkey in Nigeria, it tastier, like it's tastier than the one here. So
Yeah, exactly. People enjoy in Africa. Like, ask most people travel in December. Most Africans go home in December because there's so much enjoyment.
Like you Welcome to Life as We See It podcast with A&A, where we bring you entertaining, inspiring, organic, and relatable stories about faith, life, relationships, and social interactions. And as usual, today we have
Zuki,
my co-host. So,
hi.
yeah, Zuki. So thank you to everyone that has subscribed, everyone that is still yet to subscribe. Please press the subscribe button. We appreciate you. So today we have another topic which I find interesting because I get to talk about my home, Nigeria, and Africa. So it's basically what I miss about Africa.
Living in Africa.
What I miss about living in Africa, we're here right now in the abroad, which is America.
I think we've had a lot of topics where we talk about America, Africa, and all that. And I'm sure one of people will be wondering, why are they always talking about this?
Because
America?
I'm homesick. I'm just kidding.
Maybe we've been here for so long that home is like, man, we miss home. So but we're just going to be reminiscing about living in Africa, what it felt like for us. So, Nigeria is the giant of Africa. We're originally from Nigeria, which is a Western country in Africa. And
Africa is the continent.
Nigeria
is the country.
Africa is a continent, not a country.
Yes, Africa has many countries. So just to put that out there. So Nigeria is in Western Africa.
Yeah, have you heard that a lot of there almost seems like a mass movement. I know a lot of us Africans are moving from Africa, from Nigeria, for instance, to overseas. But there is also a mass movement of African Americans to Africa. I heard that.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Also, just to
find their roots.
I think with this invention of the ancestry DNA, where it tells you your roots and all that, a lot of people have discovered they're from Nigeria, so they're like going back home and they're, Lord, you're my Igbo brother.
I heard the Duchess of Sussex. I heard she has Nigerian. She's like 50-something% Nigerian. I was like, whoa, wow.
Yeah. So I think it's nice that people can see where they're from and they can go back and then explore, right? Yeah. So wow,
that's
all
true.
one, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what I miss living in Africa, I would say first of all for me is the weather. Mm-hmm. I love the sun. I love the warmth. I love having a warm weather all year round. I'm not used to 4 seasons, like fall, winter. I'm not used to the snow, right? So I'm still getting used to it. Like, not complaining at all, but I prefer the warmth. I prefer the sun. I prefer going to the beach. I prefer the sun. Let me come there. So I don't appreciate the humidity of the African sun.
I was going to come there. I was going to say...
let me get to that point. But I do like that it's warm. I do like the sunshine and you can go out. You don't have to wear a jacket. I think for me, it's the utmost. I don't have to wear a jacket in Africa, right? I don't have to
except if you're in the north.
Layers.
I schooled in Sokoto. Yeah, the north can be cold. Like
north,
Jos,
so I don't know.
Up north, even Sokoto. Like I remember when I served in Sokoto, and my service was during like maybe April, May period.
Okay.
And in the morning it used to be so cold. Like for me then.
I've heard that.
Yeah, cold, like maybe what I would consider maybe 60s. 60 degree Fahrenheit.
You have to wear
65
sweaters and
we didn't wear sweater. We just realized and I don't know if the indigenes also wore sweater. They just were used to the cold.
I think maybe they get used to
sweater is not really...
So does it get warm?
In the afternoon, it gets warm. Oh my
and
God.
Then at night it drops. So
yeah.
kind of like where we are right now. Okay.
But yeah, I agree with you. I love the sunshine. It's summer all year round.
Summer all year round.
It's beautiful. Beautiful landscape.
Slippers and sandals.
I know.
Yes.
Yeah. Diverse, rich experience. You know. I miss the food too. I miss the community. I miss the language. I miss the earthiness. How earthy, like organic, right? I feel food here tastes so different than food back home.
Okay, like you mean like in the process because it's
Of
processed,
process,
a lot of
it's
process.
been processed
Yeah.
so much. Even the food, even unprocessed food, like tomatoes, for instance,
You
tastes
can
different
still
here. Like
taste the
it's not like
difference.
back home where
Yeah.
it's rich and succulent and like
It's
the
coming
rich
from the farm.
flavor coming
Yes.
from the farm. So I miss
Yeah,
that.
you can even tell like the chicken, like just the difference in the chicken here
Yeah.
and the one you buy back home, or even the turkey, right? Is different. Like I feel like the turkey in Nigeria is tastier, like it's tastier than the one here. So
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely, and I don't know. I think I've heard someone say something about magnesium. Like our soil back home is rich in magnesium. I heard magnesium is like what gives food that richness, that flavor.
so we have it in natural abundance in the soil. Is
That's
that
what
you're
I hear.
saying?
That our soil
Okay.
is rich in magnesium. But here, because of maybe over farm, I don't know if it's over farming, over I don't know the
Farm
difference. But I
use.
hear the only thing I know is that the magnesium levels in our soils back home is better.
Yeah, that's great.
And I think there's something about also the way people farm back home. They don't use a lot of like fertilizers.
No, they
a
don't.
lot
That
of,
one, a lot of
Yeah.
manure. They just let things be,
They just
especially
let
even
things
people
be.
that rear like animals.
Yes.
Like they don't feed them all these hormones. They just like let them. They give them the food and then they let the chickens like play and find the food for themselves. So it's more organic, even though it takes longer for the farming
it
process
to-
for the chicken to grow.
to grow
But
and germinate. So
you can see it from how the chickens look and the type of meat that comes out that these ones are really organically raised. Yeah, it's different.
There's nothing. It's
Definitely
real rich from the,
different.
you know, yeah.
Yeah.
I really miss the, oh my God, I miss the food. I miss the environment in the sense that the chaos.
Do you really?
Sometimes I miss the chaos. I feel like this place. So when I moved here initially, right, I loved it because Nigeria was so, especially Lagos where I grew
It
up,
was like
was so chaotic and loud and crazy. But coming here, everything quiet.
Yeah,
You won't
no.
hear generator noise. You won't hear
No
car
horn.
honking.
No car honking.
You won't hear
like,
loud noise.
I don't even know if I missed that one.
So
'cause that
I
one was-
enjoyed it, but now I feel like I miss some of that craziness.
Don't worry, I'll honk
And that's
at
why I
you.
like New York. I think that's why New York reminds me of
I'll
Lagos.
honk at you next week at your car so you can remind
No, don't
yourself.
honk me. Don't honk at
So you can remind yourself that you are
me.
somewhere. Okay.
No, but seriously, I just miss that. There's just something about the hustle. The people are just hustling.
Yeah.
People are just they read. Everyone is just out to make it, to hustle. Like there's something about that energy. That's
That
really
hospital
I like
has
it.
bad parts. We'll
It
come
has
to
bad
it.
parts. Yeah, we'll go to it. We're talking about the good things,
Let's
what we
just
miss
say the
about
good
living
things,
in
what I'm
Africa.
missing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But Africa is
Africa.
wonderful. Honestly, if you're considering going to Africa, there's so many reasons. The price doesn't do, the media doesn't do justice to how Africa
I
is.
agree.
You know?
Africa, and I think what is portrayed in the media a lot of times, they show you the poor side of Africa, like the huts and all those things are great. Don't get me wrong. Like they show like starving children, black children that are
Children starve everywhere. It's not only in
everywhere, but
Africa,
they
yeah.
make it seem like
They make it seem
it's
like,
like
yeah.
it's only Africa. But more than that, there's also a lot of like technological infrastructure too in Nigeria. For example, in Lagos, I know Lekki, there's also like cocoa farming. There are things that Africa has risen up to do. We're not fantastic, we're not great, nowhere near the Western world in like technology, but we also have things. We have schools too. We have people that have started businesses from the scratch and are still moving up. We also have like Nigerian entrepreneurs. We have people that have building houses, roads, even may his soul rest in perfect peace. The guy that died, Herbert Wigwe, I was listening to about his university and how first class it is. And my only prayer is that it's maintained that way, right? Because we don't really have a great maintenance culture in Africa. But to see people
against all
odds, pushing it.
I mean,
we've also seen all those private universities, right, that are trying to mirror the foreign standard. So I think there are things that are not really shown to us, right?
And these are people going out to achieve this for themselves. Not like the government is giving them aid.
The government is not giving them
like
aid.
There's so much Nigerians are dogged, or Africans, let me say, because it's not only Nigeria, I say it all around. Yeah. We're so dogged because we know there are no welfare. We don't have a welfare economy where someone hands you out money. No, something you have to hustle for yourself, struggle. And it shows also when we come into a place where where opportunities are bound, right? Like the US or the UK or Canada, wherever you are. Like it gives that spirit, that fighting spirit, that spirit of, oh, I can do it, I can achieve. People come, you're focused, they're like, oh, I need to achieve something.
I need to strive because they're coming from that background.
Yeah. So there's so much good in Nigeria. I think someone put it on YouTube. You know how Apple headquarters looks in Silicon Valley? They have this round, like it's very beautiful. It's a beautiful architectural masterpiece. Like it's like a round shaped oval in San Francisco, in Silicon Valley. Then someone was comparing it to another similar structure in Namibia. Is it Namibia? There's some Eastern African country, they have like a structure that they call it a tech world. Like they also do technologically advanced things there as well. You know, no one shows that. That was the first time I was seeing that. And beautiful. Beautiful. I was like, well, we have this in Africa. Yes, we do. Africa is so much more than starving children. It's so much more than war.
Yeah,
so much
more
chaos.
Than hunger, chaos. Those things are there, but it's not. There's so much good. So much. I feel like good.
Like people enjoy in Africa. Like ask most people travel in December. Most Africans go home in December because there's so much enjoyment.
Like you travel from the city, you go to your village. That's when you see all your cousins. You see everyone. Like everybody just plans to come back. I enjoyed that when I was growing up because you get to see all your cousins that you haven't seen, your nephews, your niece. No matter what, people just want to go back because there's that camaraderie, there's that family bonding, right?
Exactly.
And for me, it was such an enjoyable time. And I've talked about this before. Like there's this culture where children just, when we're younger, will just like play and they'll be like balloon Christmas. Basically, what it means is like spoil me for Christmas or spoil me for Christmas, and then uncles and aunties will be like, we'll give them something. They'll be dancing around. So like little cultures, like traditions like that, they
really help enrich me
because I look forward to that as a child, and I'm like, I then put all that money, I then put it in my piggy box because my mom is like, you have to save your money. So I put it in my piggy box, and then at the end of the year or the next year, I open it and I'm like, okay, what am I gonna do with this small money that I've saved for the year? So those things, like, they seem small, but for a child is interesting. Just being able to dance around with your cousins and other people.
And in terms of, I think, okay, I wanted to go back to like the good things we have happening for us as well, right? In terms of entertainment, we have, I mean, we're by no means Hollywood, right?
But we are trying. That's a good one.
See all the people that have come out: Davido, Burna Boy, Joe Praise, and there's this Moses Bliss, like Sinach.
There's a lot.
Like, there's a lot of like people. They have become internationally known, not just in Africa, right? And then we talk about movies as well. Yes. Nollywood is going place. I think it's Hollywood, Bollywood, and then Nollywood.
And recently, Nollywood and Bollywood have been partnering to create films, because there's like 2 films now. I've seen both Indian actors and then Nigerian actors coming together to produce movies. So,
and also other African countries. South Africa, I love their movies on Netflix.
I saw one that I saw one that South African was India and Nigerians were also it was a collaborative partnership with them. So that's interesting.
So there's so much going on for us in Africa that, you know, the media is not doing justice.
Our films are great. Like they show our culture, right? They're good films. I mean, it's not all of them, but we do have good films.
So let's go to what we don't miss about Africa. Okay. The bad things. I would say number 1, corruption. Corruption has eaten deep into the fabric of that society, of our continent, because Africa is like the richest continent, right? We have gold, tin, columbite, cocoa. We have coffee, everything, like crude oil. Nigeria, which is our largest export, and that is what gives us, you know, all our revenues. We have so many rich resources, but corruption has, you know, eaten so much into our fabric that we're not seeing the development that we should be seeing. And it's so sad that even in, you know, 2024, when you talk about Africa, we're nowhere in terms of technological. Like when I say nowhere, like we are not at par right?
With
other places, especially considering everything we have. The human resources, we have rich human resources. People are smart, intelligent. We have, raw material resources, right? We're not prone to like all these environmental issues like earthquake, tornadoes. We're just blessed. Our weather is stable, and still we're suffering. I think all of that is because of corruption. And it's not just with the leaders, it's also with the followers
too. And I don't think honestly, like, our resources it's being spread around in, like, according to the masses. I feel like it just goes to 1% of the population, right, that makes that money. Because I can't understand how a country that is a major exporter of oil producing nation, right, will still import oil, or we don't even have a refinery for it, right? So, like, those are things that, like, baffle me, and I'm wondering. And that even some of our other African countries, they have 24 hours lights, but yet we don't have that as well. And so those are things that I'm like, we're the giant of Africa, but yet other countries that are a little bit smaller than us already have uninterrupted power supply, but yet we're still struggling to even fix our power supply.
That's the thing in Africa, like, not all places. I know some countries are better, like Ghana has better.
I think Kenya has
Kenya.
I could be wrong, but my
Nigeria.
Understanding from my Kenyan friends is that Kenya has stable power
I think
supply.
Nigeria is maybe one of those, because we're a lot. Our population is quite a lot.
Yes, but it's
not
doable.
Enough.
We also have the
doable,
resources.
Yeah.
It's doable.
I mean, we still use hydroelectric. That's the only, right from when I was born. Kainji Dam. What other dam? I think there are two major dams in Nigeria where it's like our electricity is hydro generated, right? That's it. And we have so much sunshine. No one has thought about diversifying to, like,
I think there's
solar
energy,
wind.
Some places use solar though, but it's not. It's few people, it's expensive.
It's not
too.
subsidized by the
it's
government.
It's also expensive.
Yeah.
So not everyone can afford it. Yeah.
It's sad in this,
honestly,
2024.
I really don't. I really don't understand
light, electricity, like basic amenities like water. And it annoys me when maybe sometimes in church when we begin to contribute money for, like, villages in Africa. I'm like, Africans are rich. We're so rich that no one should be poor in Africa. Yes. But still, the money, the wealth, just like you said, is not well distributed. Just a few people have it. Yeah. People have, in Nigeria where we have crude oil, some people have oil blocks that is wheeled to them such that they just keep drilling the oil and for them, and they sell it to make money for their own family, not for the like. It just doesn't make sense. It
doesn't, but we also have a culture that everybody's out for themselves. It's also a culture of, like, not serving the country, but what can the country do for me?
Yeah,
what can I get
exactly. What can I get from the country? Yes. So all of those things, just and other things are things like, bad roads. Not all roads are good. You can have very nice cars, but you don't have good roads to drive it. We're talking about Nigeria. I don't know how it is in other African countries.
We're talking about Nigeria, so
but Nigerian experience, it's not so. And then oppressive culture, and I think we'll just delve into it. So things to consider about, Africa. We'll talk about our culture, which is, it has its good side, it has its bad side, and I probably will just, maybe talk some of the bad sides. Our culture can be very oppressive, right? They say culture is a way of life. So people made culture. Culture is not scriptural. It's not biblical. It's not like God said, okay, human beings, this is how you should be.
You should behave.
No, even though there's biblical culture, like,
but to relate to your fellow person.
But for us, I think there's some demonic cultural practices we still indulge in Nigeria that you wonder, when those cultures were put in place, what was the mindset of the people? Was it coming from a place of, hurt, of pain, of trauma, or was it coming from a place of love, right?
Definitely not love.
Definitely not love, because a lot of people adopt maladaptive behaviors to cope with what they are experiencing at every point in time, right? Because things can be hard, right? And because things are hard for you, you make things hard for every other person, and it becomes a way of life for the people, right? Like we're talking about it in Igbo culture. There's this culture where if a man is not wedded or married to a woman and they are in partnership, like they are dating, like they have children together, if the woman passes, right, the family of the woman would take over the children, because the children will begin to bear the family's name and not the man's name. And the reason behind that is because the man didn't officially wed her, didn't pay her bride price, didn't pay her dowry, right? So for him to correct it, for the man to gain back ownership of those, or paternity of those children, he has to be wedded or married to the corpse. It's so scary. The corpse of his dead, mother of his children. For them to give him back, his biological children. Yeah,
I can't even I'm trying to picture the corpse and the person.
I'm telling you, they were discussing it on a TV show. I was like, oh wow, it's a culture in Ebola, not my own, not where I come from. I don't think it's
I don't.
But it happens, yeah. Or maybe a widow, if her husband passes, they want her to.
I know that one, a cake in some places
to sleep with the man's corpse.
But people are trying. The church is helping a little bit to try to. But it still happens.
And even when it comes to women, how women are oppressed and suppressed, it's also cultural, right? Culturally, I know growing up in my village, when the guys turn a certain age, they have to do, there's some ceremony they do, I don't know, that just oh, you are the man, kind of elevates them to, you've come to manhood. I guess you can say it's similar to what the Jews do, like bar mitzvah, the Jews do, or something. I don't know, but yeah, things like that. So there's this culture that puts people in different categories. And my question most times is someone sitting back to say, okay, let us take a look at these cultural practices again, let us review them, let us stop some of these things, right?
I think the church is helping. I remember going from one of my friend's moms, my friend, when the father died, the mom, they were trying to shave her head and do all those things, but the church came and they were like, oh, you don't really need to do that, this is not what she really wants to do, right? Some places are a little bit more liberal, right? So I know some places they force that shaving of head, but the church was able to step in and say, okay, we don't really need to do this. Man was a Christian, a devout member of the church. We want to do it the Christian way. We don't want to subjugate this woman to further trauma. She has already lost her husband. This is traumatic for her. She has young children. She still has a lot going on for her. So I think the church is trying, but it's a hard fight. It's a hard fight because it's a family thing too, and unfortunately we have a culture that separates state versus family. You go to police now to report a domestic case, they tell you, madam, there's nothing we can do. It's a family issue. It's a family issue. It's a domestic issue. Go and settle with your husband. Go and settle. So it's kind of the same thing with how the church is being regarded as an outsider. And the family is this is a family issue, right? Family so we still have to break that barrier off. It's no longer a family something. When something is abusive to somebody else,
it should be a societal issue.
It's a human rights issue. It's not just a family issue.
That's true. Yes. Yeah, I think our culture in so many ways, and I don't know how other African country cultures are. In Nigeria, we have over 200 ethnic groups, and each of those ethnic groups have their own cultural practices, right?
So I just talk about the ones we are familiar with.
Yes. And I feel a lot of African culture borders on suppression, oppression, control, right? This older people, younger people, rich people, poor people.
I think for me, the what I've noticed is that it started with a good, the intention was good.
For respect. The person forming the culture.
Yes.
Good.
I think because when I look at it, trying to look at it logically, it started with respect. The younger ones should respect the older ones. Yeah. Then from respect, it started getting as with anything, once you do it too much, it gets abused. When the purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable, right? So when respect became out of hand and everything, you don't even want to listen to what the younger person has to say, then it becomes more or else control, because you're trying to force your will on somebody else. But I think the intention was good. Instead from respect your elders, God wants you to the culture wants you to respect the man as the head of the home and respect your elders. But then when it became lopsided, where one respect should be reciprocal, as we're seeing now, but respect is only going upwards, not even coming downwards, then that's where, when there's no balance like that, then abuse is inevitable. Exactly. So but
that's totally true, because If it's just more respect, okay, how about you respecting the person you demand respect from? How about man, husband respect your wife respect your husband. Father respect your children. Even the Bible says
don't provoke your children, and children obey your parents. Because I
feel
like there's always balance.
There's always balance, but like you said, we human beings, whatever, if the purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable. It's just lopsided now, such that the state of our economy and country is also
lopsided
to the cultural values, because the older people don't think the younger people have anything to add
or say. That's why we see, unfortunately, our leadership, you see a cycle of the same people that have been in government,
because they think they know
better.
They
are the ones that know. Younger people, what can they offer? Do you understand? Younger people, what can they offer? So let us keep recycling the other ones that have experience. That's what, in my opinion, because there's no reason why a younger person
cannot come into office. And our culture also silences questioning. Like, don't question. They don't want you to. It's almost like, and they don't see it as, it's probably because you're insecure. That's why you don't want someone to question you. Like, it's almost like, it's the other person. What about look inwards and say, why am I feeling threatened? Why am I feeling threatened?
Why am I feeling defensive?
Why am I feeling defensive?
Am I doing something wrong?
It always has to be external. Those people are not respecting you.
They are not respecting you. They're not humble.
No, I think we need to look at culture. Our culture needs to be overhauled. There are good parts of it.
There are great parts.
But there are also really horrible parts. You know.
I agree. Yeah, this was interesting.
Yeah. So I wanted us to quickly touch on like government, economy, infrastructure. I mean, where we are infrastructurally, and I think we touched on it with electricity, is not where it should be, right? And we need more work. Like, we need young people even, maybe that live in the diaspora to maybe eventually one day go back home. Nobody should come for me. Eventually go back home and put things in place, Governments, we need real overhauling. I feel like no place is perfect, right? Even the US where we live, like,
no place is perfect, but I think Africa can start, and we can always start with the younger generation, encouraging them. The things that we put into place don't make it easy for young people to come out. For example, the presidential form is 100 million, or I think it was 100 million or so. I'm like, if you're a young person in your 30s, your 40s, how are you going to get 100 million to just buy the form? You're not even talking about party help.
Where does that 100 million go to? Who
I don't know.
Takes it?
I don't know. The 100 million goes to, well, that's for the presidential candidate form. Yeah, and I could be wrong, but that's what I heard for the last election. But what I'm saying is, we don't even make it easy for a young person to say, okay, I have this heart of service, so let me come and serve, right? Without playing to godfatherism and the other likes. So,
well, isn't it the same here? I feel like in America too. It's not Biden and Trump. How old are they? They're like in their close to 80s.
At least America has had one that was in the 50s. Give us one that is in the 40s, 40s or in the 60s. Give us one.
Please give us one. Give us one. Another thing is healthcare, education, cost of living.
Yes.
I mean, those things can be improved upon. Healthcare. A lot of people still fly when anything happens, maybe sick, they fly their families to maybe India, the US, UK or whatever. That
healthcare is getting better
in Nigeria.
I'll tell you, but the problem with healthcare getting better in Nigeria, there are very great healthcare institutions in Nigeria. In Lagos, for example, let me use Lagos as a point in contact. But the thing I noticed with them is that it's expensive.
Yeah.
The average person cannot afford it.
Well, isn't it the same here? Healthcare is also expensive here.
But we have health insurance.
But insurance, not everyone has insurance.
But there are ways that you can get insurance for people that don't have insurance. There's also, like, at least if you're 65 and older, there's Medicare access. There are other ways that you can get. There's this non-profit now, Project Access. They help people that don't have insurance to get surgeries and other medical attention that are expensive, because they've sponsored surgeries. So they're non-profit organizations that are helping people without insurance. Like, for example, I know Virginia Garcia is a health center here. They cater to people that don't have insurance and also people of low socioeconomic status. So there are options here. There are options here to make you go around.
Okay, that's good.
For quality care.
In Africa, what I didn't know, but you're saying we have quality care in Africa.
We have quality
because
care.
I didn't know. Because my own is if we had quality care and it's expensive, it's a totally different conversation, right?
We do have quality care. At least, let me talk for Lagos. In
how
Lekki,
many hospitals?
I don't know.
Oh, in Lekki, you're saying Lekki.
That's why I said it's for expensive people.
Okay, so
it's expensive. There's quality care that is not like, it's not up to the standard of America.
Yeah.
But
our leaders, when they are sick, when
other,
their families are sick, do they go to those hospitals or they still fly them out?
Our leaders, they're in Abuja now, so sometimes they fly. Most times they fly out.
Okay.
I know.
So it's until they begin to go to those hospitals, that's when I would agree it's quality. Like if
no, they are quality.
Okay.
They're quality. I don't know. I could be wrong, but it's expensive. And there are not many.
Okay.
There are not many.
So
there are not many. Maybe one or two, I would say, that really have that high standard. But they are expensive. They are not affordable for the average Nigerian.
That's
the
sad.
only problem.
For a country as rich as Nigeria, like, why would that be the case? You know. Well, anyway, I think the other thing is just cost of living. I think cost of living is expensive. You know, especially with the way things are going now with the dollar rates, which affects everything that goes back home. Interestingly, you know, the dollar is such a strong currency that if it fluctuates, people in other countries feel the ripple effect. I think that's all we have.
All we have.
If you're a foreigner, you want to travel to Africa, please go to Africa. It's fun. People are welcoming. People are warm. People love foreigners.
You love the food.
You will love the food. You will love the community.
Jollof rice.
Yeah, African Nigerian jollof rice. It's not only Nigeria. So many countries.
No, Ghana has jollof rice too.
Even Sierra Leone, I think. Some other countries.
But don't say I said it. Nigeria has the best. I'm just kidding. The best jollof rice.
Yes. So please visit Africa. Africa is beautiful. We love it. It's our motherland, our mother continent. So
yes. All right.
Thank you for watching.
Please like, subscribe, comment, share.
We appreciate your support.
Thank you. We'll see you on the next episode.
Time. Bye.